is a relationship game changer. It will change and shift every single one of your relationships, including the one with yourself. And what I'm going to talk about is holding space, like holding space with an open heart. And I'd like you to practice this with the people in your life that are really important to you. So what is holding space? Holding space is the practice of allowing others to be exactly who they are, or to be exactly where they are in their life, without judging them, without needing to fix or control them. And it's also about holding that space and letting them be who they are and where they are and what they are, without taking on their emotional state or their story. So it doesn't mean that you carry their pain, or it doesn't even mean that you have to agree with them. But it does mean that you're going to create room or space for them to feel enough to just be themselves. And why this is important and a game changer is because when you do that for someone else, it also allows you to be yourself. But you're just, in this moment, you're just holding space. So it means you have to just be there and listen. Now, as human beings, we don't really know how to be. We know how to do. We can do a lot of things. I can judge, and I can fix, and I can control this situation, or I can help. How can I help? As humans, we want to do, but we don't know how to be. And that's what holding space is just simply being there and letting others show up in whatever way they are showing up in that current moment. So the shift from doing to being, it's choosing to listen instead of reacting. It's choosing to soften instead of defend. Right? It's just, if you're just going to be, somebody is, they might be throwing accusations at you. Just soften. Just be there. Let them have their story. Let them have their emotional state. If you're in danger, of course, always get yourself out. You're not a doormat. You don't put yourself in the line of danger. But I'm talking about, like a relationship with, family members, where emotions can arise, or old patterns can surface, or, expectations. Somebody's going through something. And instead of trying to fix or control them, or absorbing their story and their emotional state, just soften. Just be there. Don't defend anything. Just let them be where they are and who they need to be. It's about understanding instead of assuming. When we start listening to someone and they're in a reactive state maybe, and they're starting to make us become more reactive, we start assuming in our mind. That's that human tendency of us, is just to assume, hey, and then you got to defend, and then you got to react. What if you just hold space with the intention to understand, where are they coming from? Can I actually see them? Again, being is, I can see them. I'm not blaming them. I'm not, again, trying to control or fix. I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to see them with the intent to understand. So all I have to do is listen and soften. It's a space of presence. And last week, I asked you to do a little practice every morning where you chose how you're going to show up for the day. So this week, I challenge you to show up present and willing to hold space. Now, our egos or our humans can't typically do this, right? They don't want to. They would, some, no, I don't want to say most, some humans or egos won't even be able to hear me. They've tuned me out already. But some egos are like, or humans are like, I don't even want to do this. Why would I want to do that? Okay, just let them be. No judgment, not trying to fix or control, just okay. But there's other humans, and I'm using human and ego interchangeably because we're all human and we all have an ego. It's not a bad thing. It's how we survive in this world. But some of our egos like the challenge. So the challenge is for you to show up present and willing to hold space for other people in your life. Again, this is a relationship game changer. But this requires us to show up in our day from the most loving and compassionate part of ourselves. It means connecting or aligning with your soul or your higher self, the part of you that can see from a higher perspective, the part of you that actually can see clearer, that can listen deeply, and that responds, if it needs to, from a place of grace. Because again, we're heading into a time of year where emotions run high. And this is the time to soften into your higher self, that part of you that knows how to hold space. So that is what this week is all about. And you know what this really does is this helps us to release ourselves from unnecessary suffering. Instead of trying to fix or judge, that person shouldn't be that way, and why are they doing it? And if they could just do it this way and I could control them. Oh, that's exhausting. And I know it because I used to be that person. And I can still easily fall back into being that person because I'm human and I have an ego. And I have family, and I have, old patterns that surface and emotions that arise, and so does everybody else. So this week, I'm challenging myself as much as I'm challenging you. Hold space with an open heart. Right? See people without judgment. Hear them, listen. Don't start planning your reply on how you can help them or fix them or, control it. No, but just see them and hear them. Be present. Okay. And so another step, this is kind of more of the challenge of this week, is, and it would be really beneficial, again, that relationship game changer, to utilize this practice with people who you tend to complain about the most. And so when you're holding space, maybe you're intentionally going, okay, I want to hold space for this person because I want to change this relationship. It's not going the way I want it to. So before even heading into that situation where you'll hold space, you have to intentionally look for their strengths. Don't head into it going, I'm just going to have to listen to them and complain about this and go on about this and rant about this and go. No. Go in. What are their strengths? Don't focus on their weaknesses because that'll just throw you back into, reacting, defending, and assuming and wanting to fix and control. No. What is their strength? Or many strengths. Focus in on that. What is really good about them? What kind of things do they put effort into that you're like, I appreciate that they do this? Notice the good things that they do or what they bring. What kind of things do they do that they bring that you're like, I can appreciate that. I can see that within them. Notice how they show up for you. Again, it comes into, you got to accept and appreciate because we want to lead from acceptance rather than frustration. Right? And then, and this is where the game changer comes in. Notice how your energy changes or shifts when you look at other people or this person through this lens. really, this comes down to being kind, because none of us know what anybody is really truly going through. So let's be kind. Let's come up with some compassion. Let's show up in our day from that most loving, most stable, most compassionate part of ourselves. We all have this part. Some of us know how to access it easier than others do. And other times we have to, again, reel ourselves in. I don't have to do anything. I need to just be. Don't focus on their flaws. Don't focus on their weaknesses. Don't focus on what they always do wrong. Look for their strengths. Look for their goodness. Look for the effort they put in. Notice what they do that is good, that brings, life, love back into your heart. And then notice how your energy changes, because that's the only thing we have any control of, is our own energy, how we are going to show up. We don't need to be dragged into their story or their emotional state. We don't. We can listen, soften, understand, see them. So that's the challenge. That is the challenge for all of us for the whole rest of the month. Hold space. That practice of just being with others and allowing them to just be who they are, be where they are. No judging, no need to fix or control, and no need to even take on everything that they're feeling or their stories. You don't have to agree with them. You just create space so that they can feel what they need to feel so they can be themselves. And you get to figure out really who you are. So that is our challenge, my friends. So have a fabulous week of holding space. I'm going to say this is going to require you to also hold some space for your own self in your own mind. So if you tend to go into that frustration and anger and need to defend and react, hold some space for yourself. Again, last week, ground yourself, breathe, kind of feel into what you're experiencing and your thoughts and all of what's going on sensation-wise. And then once you connect into that and breathe, I'm going to show up from a more loving, accepting, and compassionate place. Be kind. You don't know what anybody else is going through. Namaste, my friends.